Hello and welcome to this short recording of a standardisation of the new style sample paper for entry level 1. Before you watch or listen further, please scan the QR code to access the Padlet where I've placed the learner response, mark scheme and mark sheet for you to use for this session. Please download the learner response to activities 1 to 4 along with the mark scheme and the mark sheet, and then use the mark scheme to mark the learner response and give feedback, and then return to this recording to see how your marks compare. So if you've come back after completing the activity, wonderful. If you haven't completed the activity, you can do it now on screen. So we've got our learner responses to these 3 questions. We've got the mark scheme associated. You can pause the recording if needed. Otherwise, I'm going to reveal how many marks would be awarded. And it's 2 out of a possible 3. So it's quite straightforward, really. For these particular underpinning skills questions, the CAO means correct answer only. So we will only accept 11, so 1A is correct, 14, so 1B is correct, and 13, so 1C is not correct. It looks like our learner has sort of tried to use a method of drawing little circles and adding them up, but perhaps they've either miscounted or they haven't drawn it looks like they haven't drawn enough circles actually. And again, we now have some problem-solving activities. You can pause the recording if you need to, otherwise I'm going to reveal how many marks would be awarded now. So no marks for these questions, unfortunately. So for 2A, the answer is 9 months. If we see 12 minus 3, then they would get a mark, but unfortunately it looks like what this learner has done is actually added 12 plus 3. So no marks there and no marks for the correct answer of 9 either. And then for 2B, they needed to do a reverse calculation. So it says, show how Jake can check his answer using a different calculation. Our learner has done an attempt, but 4 minus 20 would not actually be 16, it would be minus 16. So really it might be something to bear in mind actually, that it is worth making sure that your learners understand how to do reverse calculations. So a legitimate reverse calculation is shown in the mark scheme. 4 plus 16 equals 20. Alternative, they could have done 20 take away 16 is 4, but unfortunately what they've done is not accepted. And again, you can pause the recording if you need. Otherwise, let's take a look at this activity, which is all underpinning skills. I'll reveal the number of marks now. So 3A, the answer is Friday, and they've put Saturday, so nothing can be awarded there. They have gained the mark for the tally marks, and they have gained the mark for indicating all of the white animals. And activity 4, how many marks would you award? And this particular question was a contentious one during the live session, but it has been checked now with our EQA, and I'll reveal how many marks would be awarded. And it's 2. So the reason there was contention in the live session is because the reason given was, they hadn't stated, oh, it's an hour difference or anything. They just written 11.00. So the mark scheme does allow, it says no and 11. So if they'd just written 11, that would be fine. Or no and 11 o'clock, that would also be fine. No and an hour ahead would be fine. No and 10 o'clock would be fine. Or 11 written in words, but that OE or equivalent allows for the 11.00. So there's it's not the correct time because it's 11 o'clock. So that would be awarded those 2 marks at entry level 1. And finally, for problem solving for entry level 1, I'll show you how many marks would be awarded. I'll trust that you've already marked it yourself. So it's quite straightforward here. So we've got 1 mark for B, 4B. We can't give a mark, so it looks like what they've done is they've chosen C and then changed their mind and chosen D. But unfortunately, the correct answer that can be accepted is C. And then 4D, they have got the correct answer. They've got the £12 only, and the pound symbol shown in brackets means that you might see the pound symbol in their writing, but it's not necessary in order to gain the mark. And so here are the marks that were achieved by this learner. And I wonder what you think about this assessor feedback to the learner. Is this the type of feedback that you might write? So I've got good effort, Anne. I'm sure you'll pass it on your next try. So we discussed this in the live session, and while the feedback is positive, it's not developmental and it is not specific. And it is also, we discussed how in terms of the wording that you use and how you can encourage a growth mindset, this type of wording, good effort, does not actually develop a growth mindset, because it sort of almost implies or could imply that this is the best that Anne could do. So they haven't passed on this occasion, but they've made a good effort. What does that mean? Is that the best that Anne can do? And also, I'm saying I'm sure you'll pass on your next try. Is that helpful? Is it true? What if Anne doesn't pass? How does that impact on the assessor relationship with their learner? For out of interest, this could be a pass in truth, because the usual pass mark for entry level 1 is either 16 or 17, although it would look from our assessor feedback that on this occasion our learner has not passed. Possibly because our assessor has set this as a mock, and a sensible thing to do with a mock when you know of any pass boundaries is always to set the mock to be passed at the highest of that pass boundary. So even though for the sample entry-level papers there are no pass marks because they've never been sat, they can never be awarded because no learners have sat them. But as a good indication, we know that our entry level 1 pass marks tend to be either 16 or 17, so those are our pass boundaries. So using this as a mock, it will be sensible to set the pass mark as 17. In summary, all maths functional skills assessments are now in the new style. Our mark schemes haven't changed. Please do check with your internal quality assurer if you're unsure on awarding specific marks. And when it comes to giving feedback to your learner, it should be specific and developmental and positive. And do make sure that any learner achievement that you share with your learners, make sure that they're aware that this is subject to review. The IQA feedback to the assessor should also be positive, specific and developmental. If you have any questions after watching this session, please do get in touch. An easy way to put your question to us is to complete the evaluation form on the next slide. So our feedback form for on-demand events is here. You can scan the QR code. It is an anonymous survey. However, you have the option in the last questions, if there's something specific that you want to ask us, then you can you can choose to give us your contact details. If you don't choose to do that, if you've got no questions but you would like to give some feedback, then we do appreciate your feedback, so please do, and it will stay completely anonymous. But if you've got specific questions and you want us to get back in touch with you, then just let us know by completing that feedback form. You'll find all of our upcoming CPD events from our functional skills events page on the website. It's linked here, and again you'll find it from that customer learner support drop down and choosing delivery support, and from the delivery support option you can see delivery support functional skills, and you can see our events from there. Thank you so much for your time in listening to this recording. I hope you found it useful and helpful. If you've got further questions, you can contact me directly. If you've got questions about the portal or Surpass, please put those to customer support. And if you've got questions on our Skills Builder, our excellent platform for initial assessment, diagnostic and online resources, then please contact the Skills Assessment team. Thank you very much.